Hello, welcome to Axiom Flux News. Today's date's the 31st of December 2014, and yes, it's New Year's Eve. We're going to be joined with Bok now. He's got some breaking news. Hello Bok, over to you. How are you doing?
Hey guys, got a couple stories here. They're both to do with space today. This first one here is the year in space exploration. This was from the year 2014. At first glance, the past year was a dismal one for space travel and exploration. For many, the lasting space-related images will be from October, when the brash, upstart field of commercial spaceflight crashed back to Earth. Then on October 28th, 6 seconds after taking off from NASA's Wallops Island Flight Facility in Virginia, Orbital Sciences Corp's unmanned Antares rocket exploded into a ball of fire. So they're saying 2014 wasn't their greatest year. But suddenly, Richard Branson's dream of offering commercial space flights by 2015 was replaced by the stark image of crumpled wreckage strewn across California Mojave Desert. They're doing some sort of a Mars mission opens India for deep space business. Like 2 weeks ago, scientists and engineers with India's Space Research Organization celebrated the perfect blast-off for their first GSLV rocket. So they're doing some joint ventures. And then on December 23rd, Vladimir Putin launched the new Angora A5 rocket on live TV. And of course we come down to NASA. Capped its year with the dramatic launch of its new Orion spacecraft from Cape Canaveral in Florida, stirring memories of the Apollo's program's glory days. While Orion might one day shuttle an all-American crew to Mars and back, what the past year portends is that space exploration is the new frontier for international cooperation. All right. And of course we have the other, I forget, was it called Cassini? That's soon to be releasing some footage from nearby Saturn, I believe. Here's another one. And this is a comet that is supposedly visible to the human eye, and it's passing where's the general information? Okay, 2014. 2014 hasn't even ended yet, and we already have one of the best comets of 2015 showing off in our skies. So I believe it's called Q2 Lovejoy Comet, already visible to the naked eye and predicted to get brighter over the next couple of weeks. So this is from Australian amateur astronomer Terry Lovejoy. Apparently he's found a couple of other ones as well. As a bonus, it's passing near the constellation of Orion, making it easier to find, and it'll also glide past Taurus and the Pleiades, providing for what should be some pretty photogenic scenes. And he originally found it December 28th. He spotted it. In the photos here, the comet appears green, many due to the way their constituent molecules glow when reacting to sunlight. Okay, oh yeah, here's the good part. As for the physical nature of the comet itself, it's on a pretty long period orbit. That's interesting. Taking about 40,000 years to go around the sun, the orbit takes it out to a distance of nearly 90 billion kilometers. For comparison, Neptune orbits at a distance of 4.5 billion kilometers. So Lovejoy got its start way the heck out in the solar system. The orbit is also widely tilted to the plane of the solar system. It's tipped by 80 degrees to the paths the planets take. That's why it's getting so much better to see for northern observers. It's heading up and out of the ecliptic, the line on the sky marking the path of the sun, which is close to the plane of the solar system. We see it edge on, so it looks like a line. This may not be the first time this comet was headed into our neighborhood, but it's a good bet. It's the last of any of us will get to see it. In other words, here's your chance. Take it. So that's it from the Cosmos today, guys. Over to you guys.
Okay, Doc. That's pretty interesting. Especially that last article you done about that comet. Well, I've been looking at something in the sky, but PJ confirmed last night it was. I can't remember which one it is now, PJ.
Oh, I wouldn't say I've confirmed it. I can add to the
Jupiter, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Jupiter. Yeah.
Okay. But it's there again tonight. I had a look and I tried to take some pictures again, but it's just too dim for my camera. It's not a very good camera. But it's interesting about the failures from some of the rockets this year. I knew of the two that failed. Not only aeroplanes, it seems to be rockets that are doing. Oh, the other thing is the international effort is what China's doing. I mean, they've got a rover going around the moon at the moment and doing various.
Oh, right. That article didn't even mention China. They've got a huge space program now. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they are all gearing up for a combined effort or something.
Yeah. Well, I know India's joined. They're doing their little fair share.
Yeah, they've got a joint mission with India as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, very good, interesting articles. Thanks for that, book.
Yeah, nice one, Bob. Nice colouring all of that comet.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Alright, share screens. Okay, what have I got? Well, hopefully that's come up. Let us know when it comes up.
Yep, that's there.
Just on breaking news, literally not too long ago, the United Nations vote against Palestinian statehood. And quite an important vote if you're following the Middle East and the Palestinian and Israel situation. The UN Security Council has rejected a Palestinian resolution calling for peace with Israel within a year and an end to Israel's occupation by 2017. The resolution failed to muster the minimum 9 yes votes required in the Council for adoption. The United States, Israel's closest ally, had reiterated its opposition to the draft resolution earlier on Tuesday. Washington said it could not support the draft because it was not constructive and failed to address Israel's security needs. The resolution had called for occupied East Jerusalem to be the capital of Palestine and an end to Israel's settlement building and settling the issue of Palestinian prisoner releases. The resolution also called for negotiations based on territorial lines that existed before Israel captured the West Bank, East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip in 1967. Israel had said the Security Council vote following the collapse in April of US brokered talks on Palestinian statehood would deepen the conflict. The Palestinians Palestinians, frustrated by the lack of progress on peace talks, have sought to internationalise the issue by seeking UN membership and recognition of the statehood via membership in international organisations. Several European parliaments have adopted the non-binding motions calling for recognition of Palestine. The Palestinians had warned that if the bid to win support for the UN resolution failed, they were prepared to join the International Criminal Court to file suits against Israel. Well, are we surprised at the decision? I guess I'm not really. I don't suppose most people will be. As for the United Nations and resolutions, I mean, how many has Israel broken and continue to break as the occupier? So I don't know. It's just a decision that well, I guess really was expected. I didn't even know they were voting on this until I just found it earlier. So there we go. Obviously, it serves a purpose to be in permanent conflict in that area for, should we say, certain people in the establishments of the world. So, yes, very briefly, but Brock probably knows a little bit more about this than I. Maybe Brock, any comments on that?
Oh boy, that's a tall order. I mean, there probably isn't a more complicated situation, but I'm sure beneath it all, it's not complicated. You know, I tell you, who's ever putting this whole thing, you know, who's ever pushing the buttons to push these people into conflict like this is just absolutely disgusting. I think that, you know, the people of both Israel and Palestine are, you know, they're going to have this kind of a consciousness awakening is there as well, you know. So I don't know. I remain hopeful for the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I hope you're right with a conscious awakening and humanity rules. You know, amongst anything else, it seems to be the loser in this situation all the time, doesn't it? And it has been for a very long time. So, you got any thoughts on that, PJ, before I move on to the next one?
Well, I think it's pretty much self-explanatory, to be honest. But like Bob said, you know, can only hope.
Yeah, I think that's enough said on that, but all to be expected, I think. Anyway, moving on. We got this pleasant person, because that's all I regard him as, a piece of paper. Because he's obviously clearly not got a single inch of humanity in his body. That's my personal opinion of this geezer. Anyway, it's Ian Duncan Smith, and the article is Ian Duncan Smith wants to tax disability benefits. Okay, disability benefits could be taxed under controversial proposals, reportedly being supported by Ian Duncan Smith. The Personal Independence Payment, PIP, and Disability Living Allowance, DLA, it is replacing, are both currently paid at the same rate regardless of the recipient's income. The PIP of between £21.55 and £138.5p a week, based on an assessment of people's needs, was rolled out in April last year. At the time, the Work and Pensions Secretary called the reforms fair and said they would ensure that people who need them get better payments. But now Mr. Duncan Smith has reportedly argued that they should be increased for poorest claimants while being subsidised with a tax on the benefit for those with higher incomes. Wow. Senior government sources told the Sunday Times that taxing disability benefits would raise several billions. A government source said to the paper, "It cannot be right that those on the lowest incomes get the same disability benefit as those who are millionaires." It would be fair to tax the benefits so those on higher incomes, many of them don't need the money nearly as much, would pay at the same rate as income tax. A special advisor confirmed that Mr. Duncan Smith had spoken to the paper on the issue, but no official policy announcement has been made. The Work and Pension Secretary has frequently been forced to defend the reforms, which impose tougher checks on claimants, such as making them prove they can manage to walk no more than 20 metres for largest payments, compared to 50 metres previously. After reports of huge backlogs for claimants causing seriously ill people to struggle with living costs, Labour MP Margaret Hodge said the government has let down some of the most vulnerable people in society. The cases we've heard on the Public Accounts Committee are shocking, she added. The implementation of personal independent payment has been nothing short of a fiasco. Figures released earlier this year said 37% of standard PIP claims have been successful, including 99% of the applications from people with terminal illnesses. The Department for Work and Pensions had received an average of 30,000 claims per month. All I can do is just sort of go over to a page like this. This is a blog called The Black Triangle. It's a campaign. Now down here there's a list of people. Well, was a list of people. All these people have died while being, at the time, failing the ATOS test and passed fit for work. I mean, the list goes on and on. It just really does. It's basically, if I just highlight one or two of these, I just read it. It's an updated tragic list of welfare-related deaths of the UK sick and disabled people. This is the tip of the iceberg. They shall be remembered forever. More. Avenge the dead, resuscitate the living. We must fight on for freedom from Westminster murderous policies, foot struggle with all Britain's sick and disabled people simultaneously. Here's one chap here, Terry McGarvey, 48. Dangerously ill from polycythemia. Terry asked for an ambulance to be called during his work capability assessment. During it, he knew that he wasn't well enough to attend his WCA, but feared that his benefits would be stopped if he did not. He died the following day. Elaine Lowe, 53, suffering from COPD and fearful of losing her benefits. In desperation, Elaine chose to commit suicide. Mark Wood, 44, found fit for work by ATOS against his doctor's advice and assertions that he had complex mental health problems. Starved to death after benefits stopped, weighing only 5 stone 8 pounds when he died. And I could go down the list, and there's just as tragic stories concerning this whole fiasco. It's very, very sad that we live in a so-called society that's meant to care for the vulnerable and disabled. But it's obviously clear what this man and his policies have done. And basically, like I say, this guy here, he's not a human being, as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion on you. I mean, what does he look like? He looks like a teddy bear, doesn't he? But he's not a teddy bear at all. He's one evil dude. And he hasn't got an ounce of humanity in his body. And that's enough I say. And I'll put it over to you, Bob. What do you think of that sort of thing going on in today's so-called fair society?
Well, you know, it's another system that's definitely, you know, on the brink of being a failure over here as well, I think. Definitely needs, the medical systems need, in the Western world especially, they need to be updated. Yeah,
well, the fact of the matter is, that's not enough. Obviously, enough people are not dying from the cuts in the disability benefits. He wants to now tax them on top of that. Whatever little bit of benefit that they've cut to pieces, the man now wants to tax them. And this balderdash about down here about millionaires on benefits. Millionaires, what constitutes a millionaire today? Well, let's say if you've got an overinflated priced house that you've got a mortgage on, but you don't own it, right? You may be classed on paper as a millionaire, but you probably know better off than anybody else. So maybe that might constitute a millionaire. But that's a red herring. The whole idea is, millionaires aside, he's going to tax the benefits on top of the ones he's already cut to a million pieces. And this man is a poor excuse at best for a human being. So what do you think, PJ?
Oh, I'll probably spend all night, you know, telling you my thoughts on him. But you put it pretty clear to, you know, I share the same mutual feeling as you do, Andy, when it comes to Duncan Smith, but I will have to staple my lips together, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, what am I showing independent?
I think it's become a point now where people don't even want to hear his name anymore.
Nah. How comes he's still there?
You don't have to tell anybody what he's been up to lately. You just mention his name, and that's all you need to say. Ian Duncan Smith, and that's, you know, that's all it takes.
Are you not surprised from his latest, you know, his latest announcement? I mean, it's not been put through, but you know, if this bloke says something, it normally gets put through after stripping what's left of people's disability benefits.
He has lost before, though, hasn't
he? He has, but you know, I wouldn't put it past them from putting this through, you know.
Yeah, but he's the sort of guy to go that extra mile just to, you know, get what he wants. He'll always do a comeback.
Well, I just hope people realise what they're doing by keeping this corrupt, disgusting, stinking system going. Anyway, over to you, PJ.
No worries, thanks very much. Hey guys, just like to bring you to some of the news, the latest information released on the AirAsia flight 8501. It's been confirmed that the plane has crashed into the Java Sea. This report is 30 minutes ago. But what's interesting about this article is, well, let me just give you a little brief read of what it says here. The search for the wreckage of AirAsia flight 8501 has resumed after the grim discovery yesterday of 3 bodies and debris from the doomed plane. Indonesia's National Search and Rescue Agency chief last night confirmed that just 3 bodies have been recovered so far in the search for the AirAsia plane which crashed in the Java Sea, after another official earlier said 40 had been found. Okay, so let's just take this little piece by piece, just so you can keep track, because this is fairly detailed from what I'm going to be producing. Indonesia's National Search and Rescue Agency, well, the chief last night, this is last night in Australian time, remember this is an Australian website, last night confirmed that just 3 bodies have been recovered so far in the search for the AirAsia plane which crashed in the Java Sea, after another official earlier said 40 had been found. So just keep that in your mind. I'm going to take you into some of the images that have been attached. Now, in this paragraph here, it basically extends, going back into the 3 days after disappearing during a wild storm. In a statement, the airline read it regrets to inform that the National Search and Rescue Agency, Republic of Indonesia, also known as the Basarnas, today confirmed that the debris found earlier today is indeed 8501. He said it is indeed. The flight that had lost contact with air traffic control on the morning of the 28th of December 2014. This was the day where, at that time in the morning, the plane lost signal. There was 155 passengers on board, with 137 adults, leaving 17 children and just one infant. On board there was also 2 pilots, 4 cabin crew and 1 engineer. It's quite an extended amount of cabin crew, so they had a decent team together in numbers. Now this picture here, you'd think it's quite a beautiful picture. You wouldn't really suggest that that was any sort of site of where the debris would have been found. I can't really pinpoint to an end, show you exactly if there is any debris in that image, so I'm not too sure of why they've selected that image. It is an aerial view, but you know, with the amount of times they refer to debris being found and bodies being found, and it's, you know, the least expected image you know, I think you'd be seeing. But anyway, moving on. There's a little report attached to this article. It is quite hard to see. It's fairly detailed, just going into the talks and the dates of when things have been happening. The CEO, Tony Fernandez, he's been doing some conferences and, you know, with spending time with the family victims. Just extends, shows you some of the previous ones that I've shown in the past few days. Same images, more of the CEO. This is the San Diego-based guided missile destroyer USS Sampson. Well, this has responded to Indonesia's request to support search operations. So they've got quite a decent force out there from all different countries. After 2 days of searching debris from parts of the aircraft, including an emergency exit door, luggage, oxygen tank and a life jacket. I'm not sure if that's supposed to say tank or tack, I don't know if that's a typo there, but anyway, moving on, were found in the Kalimantan Strait between Sumatra, Java and Borneo, around 110 nautical miles southwest from Bangkalan, Bun. Several corpses were spotted off Borneo Island. Search and rescue teams were lowered on ropes from a hovering helicopter to retrieve the corpses, their efforts hindered by a 2-meter high, 6-foot high waves and strong winds. They were recovered, swollen but intact, and taken to an Indonesian Navy ship. The shadow of a plane was spotted on the seabed close to the debris. Little diagram here showing you where certain events are located on a map and the distances between each other, and the bodies and the debris quite a distance from each other, if you can see there. Now, I'm not going to be saying too much into this, I'm just basically saying what I see. And trying to report on such a tragic event. This is part of the debris. Shows floating debris, but it doesn't really tell you what it is. And that's about it for debris, I'm afraid. A few little items here. Family. A relative receives medical attention as he collapses at the breaking news. Family members of passengers pray together while waiting for a briefing inside the crisis centre. A rescue is lowered on rope from a hovering helicopter near a body in Java Sea waters. So they've got quite a collection of, you know, frontline photos, but a limited amount of debris and bodies. Not that I expect to see, you know, bodies as such, but you would have thought that they'd have showed you parts of the door and a few of the items they mentioned earlier. But anyway, moving on from this article onto another article relating to this, which is it's a list of passengers aboard AirAsia QZ8501. Now, I know I've been going on about this event for the past few days, and it's, you know, I think it's fairly important to actually mention the people that were actually involved in it and have been affected. So I wanted to just read some of the names. It's quite an extended list, but you know, I feel that it's needed to be done with respect, of course. So, AirAsia flight from the Juanda International Airport. Based on official data, the Airbus 320 flight had 162 people on board, comprising 138 adult passengers, 16 children and 1 baby, and 7 crew members. Number 1. Fiona Florencia Abraham. Now, I'm not very good at pronouncing names, but I'm going to try my very best. Sue Alain Octavianus. Sri Ratra Adriana. Sri Vincencia Adrigiani. Sharon Michelle Ange. Could be Ang. Stephen Michael NG. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Ong Annalena. Linda Angarara. See if I can zoom up so you can see these on the screen. So I'm only going to go through as many as I can actually pronounce, to be fair. So I'm not sure if that's any better. These are the 138 adult passengers. I'm not too sure if the children are actually on this list, but we'll get there. 162 people on board. Some of the names are interesting. 154. So out of the total amount, that is 162, 154 are on that list, which is in the Jakarta Post. If you want to take a look at that, you can go and look at this website. I'm not too familiar with this website, to be honest, but it does state it's an official list. But if it's not, then, you know, please provide me with a more correct list. But that's the only list I've managed to find. But I thought I'd share that one with you. Which brings me to my final article. Let me see, is this the one?
I suppose we'll have to, these things seem to take forever to have an inquiry. You may be waiting months, even years, before, if at all, you get to the bottom of this, and perhaps they'll put it down to, you know, instruments malfunction, weather. I suppose the thing you got to wait for is the black box, so-called the black box recovery. But it's going to be a long time before they come out with any.
Well, if they spotted the actual the plane in, you know, underneath the water when he was jumping from the ropes, then it's, you know, sounds like they promised to see a black box on this one. Do you think?
Yeah, I don't know what sort of depth of water you're talking about on that part of the coast. I mean, obviously, from the picture you showed from the coastline, I presume it's not that far off the coast. So we would be in relatively shallow water, really. So if that's the case, I mean, how does it say how far from the coast it went down, or?
Well, they don't know, do they?
Well, where they saw the shadow of the plane.
Well, that's what he says. I can't answer.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's all very scant at the moment, and it seems like it'll be information will be dribbled out a bit at a time, or whatever.
This is the dramatic moment. Another AirAsia passenger jet skids off runway during landing. The passengers and crew on board the Airbus 320 had disembarked using the emergency inflatable slides. This is yesterday's news, but the latest on another AirAsia flight that has had some complications during landing. It landed in Philippines. It had a total of 159 passengers and crew. Some more images there. I'd like to just mention this, that AirAsia Philippines said the terrifying incident, which happened as rescue teams found the site where another AirAsia plane crashed in the Java Sea, was caused by high winds. So what they're saying in this bit here is that this event was happening at the same time when they discovered the site of the other AirAsia plane and where that crashed in the sea. So 5:43 in this next sentence is when the plane had complications and skidded off the Calibo International Airport runway upon landing in, from Manila in Philippines. So I thought that was interesting, and they've even, in the mirror, they've even put it out in red and attached a link referring you to the other plane incident, which happened on Sunday. So what's your thoughts on this, Bok, Andy?
Well, it seems a bit strange, doesn't it? It seems to be all coincidences, I don't know. It seems...
Engine was shut immediately. We were told to leave bags, deplane as soon as possible. Fire truck was waiting. Seems handled well.
Well, it's strange, isn't it? Because we had that incident at Gatwick, didn't we? Shortly after that, one that crashed.
Yeah, with the Virgin Atlantic plane. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do seem to sort of like happen in twos, or.
Yeah, it's a replica almost. Now I can't say it's a clone of it, but because I don't know if this had any gear problems, gear landing problems or what, but it just says it's geared off a track. So I can't suggest anything more, but yeah, I do see what you're saying. It does seem to be coming in twos. But do coincidences work like that? Is it a coincidence, would you say?
I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. It just seems a little bit.
It's definitely heavy with this air reporting, this airline reporting lately in the past week. Well, in the past year, but just speaking on the past week, we've had quite a fair few.
Unless there's something going on, I don't know, with these particular airlines, or one could think of some type of conspiracy going on with it. I just can't seem to make head and tails of these other little side things that are happening with the Virgin aircraft.
Oh, here we go, look. Bit of debris. Be a plane door, life jacket and emergency exit. 105 miles it was spotted off the coast.
Well, that's a fair way out. It's not on the coast then, is it? Because that picture you showed earlier on, at the beginning of the first article, it was a coastline.
Yeah, but I don't know why they even showed you that image to begin with.
But, well, that's what I'm trying to say. That's got no
relevance to
any of this. If it was 150.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I didn't. That's why I pointed that out. Now I do notice something like almost as if it's a holding back of information, and they're giving you the littlest amount of images to go with it, and in some cases repeating the same images that they've showed you already. I just don't understand why it'd be put out in such a way. Well,
it just seems perhaps it's just very haphazard reporting, or there is nothing to.
Yeah.
I don't know. No idea. Guess you're going to have to wait to see how this unfolds and see what's the so-called official line about it all comes up, and then we can perhaps try to make some sense of it. The reporting of it, really, yeah. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, if the plane got the difficulties and crashed, the plane got the difficulties and crashed, but the reporting of this is a little bit strange, and it has been for most of these air accidents of late. So Bob's fairly quiet. What do you think, Bob? Do you find anything odd about any of this report?
Yeah, like you said, Andy, it's going to take maybe years of investigation, and it's going to be one of those things that might be attributed to the year 2014. Yeah, I was just going to say, hopefully it's the last of these things. It might be just something that might be attributed to 2014, and you know, next year is a new year, and maybe this thing will be finished.
Well, I hope so. I definitely hope so.